Oh, and he falls to his death. Hello and welcome to another Tabletop Ramblings SBG Battle Report. So we've got something a little bit different for today. We've got a scenario made exclusively for the channel, which is the Battle for Helms Deep. So there's quite a few special rules, and we'll go over that. We'll go over the participants in a minute. But first, we'll just take a quick look at the field of battle. So this is the battlefield. It's a display board made for the Scouring of Cheshire, which was unfortunately cancelled. So I thought I would dust it off and get some use out of it for today. So it is some open ground where the forces of Isengard are mustering outside. There's then the main gatehouse section, which the defenders of Rohan are holding with their lives. Then there's the two ladders going up onto that section, and then gated off from the main section of battlements, there is this small little section here which runs off into the deeping wall, which we can see has been breached along out of sight. So that is the field of battle, so to speak, and we'll go into the participants. So for the forces of evil, we have 10 pikemen and 10 sword and shield vying for entry into the castle. There's also 2 Isengard berserkers that'll be at the top of the ladders, and then over here there is a captain already up on the walls, and we'll come to that in a little moment. For the forces of good, there are 10 warriors with shield and throwing spear, Haleth and Aldor, and then also 1 warrior of Rohan with a banner. So this is a special scenario. It will last 12 turns. The forces of good will win if they can keep that banner alive until the end of the 12th turn. So even if that banner bearer has been killed, if it's been passed on, someone still has it, the flag is still flying at the end of turn 12, then good will have achieved victory. For evil, they just simply have to stop that from happening. If they can kill the banner bearer and make sure that it's not passed on, no one has the banner at the end of 12 turns, then they will win. If they're able to do that earlier, then the game will immediately end once they have achieved their victory conditions. There are a number of special rules for this scenario. There's a variation on the Endless Horde rule for the Uruk-hai, who have obviously 10,000 warriors charging it into this battle. So any Uruk-hai model that dies in this battle, at the end of the next Isengard move phase, will roll a dice, and they will come back on the ground down here, anywhere of their choosing, on a 1 to 4. But on a 5 to 6, they'll come on up here, because there is a portion of the deeping wall that is starting to fall through the course of this battle. That captain has already managed to evade the defenders and has managed to get up onto the wall. The other special rule is that Haleth's There Is Always Hope is active based on Aragorn normally, but for the purposes of this it will be active from the banner. So as long as he's within 6 inches of that banner, then he gains that extra attack. The other special rule is Hold the Walls, which is that Rohan have +1 to wound as long as they are atop the walls of Helms Deep, which obviously for this scenario will be all of the time. And then the final special rule is Lucky Shots. Aldor must always, in the shoot phase, make a shot as long as he's able, and he's unable to move unless there's an unengaged enemy model within 3 inches of him. And also, any model that he kills will automatically count as rolling a 5 or a 6. So any model that he counts is a real double-edged sword, because he'll be killing someone down here and they'll be coming back up there, which will start over time to really test the defenders. As here, that you can just see that horse's head, that is a reinforced door. It is defense 8 and has 2 wounds, And obviously there is that captain there, and whatever reinforcements will join him through the course of the battle that will be pounding on that door, trying to break it down and opening another beachhead onto those walls. And so that is the scenario. We know who's playing, we know what the rules are, so let's get stuck in and roll for turn 1 priority. So for this battle report, good will be green and red will be for evil. So first turn priority, and it's a draw. And there we go. So first turn priority goes to Rohan. End of turn 1 movement, and the forces of Rohan just consolidated their position on the wall and engaged the berserkers at the top of the ladder. For Isengard's movement, few people shuffled down at the bottom, getting ready to climb the ladders, and over here, just behind that wall, the captain is getting ready to start trying to bash that door down. So we'll go to the shooting phase, where Aldor is going to take some lucky shots. So shoot phase, Aldor, just up there, is going to take a shot at one of the shieldmen down on the ground. He gets a 1, but he has to re-roll, all failed to hit, and it is a 5 this time. So then rolling to wound. He'd normally need a 6 on someone with a shield with his strength 2 bow, but being up on the battlements, defend the walls, gives him +1 to wound. So 4, and then a 3. So he does not wound this turn. So over to the combat phase. So we'll enter the combat phase, and we'll begin with this warrior against a berserker. The warrior will shield. He loses the combat, but the banner doesn't help him. So the Urukai making strikes on a 4, 5 or 6, he'll get past the battlements. 1 gets through, and then needing a 5 to wound. Cock dice. A 5. So the berserker has got that kill and is now on the battlements. He jumps down and takes that warrior's place. The next fight here is Haleth against a berserker. Haleth has 2 attacks because he's within 6 inches of the banner, and he wins that fight. He would normally need 5s to wound the berserker, but now it will be 4s, but he doesn't get him. So then rolling a dice, and on a 4, 5 or 6 the berserker is sure-footed, but on a 1, 2 or 3 he falls off the ladder. But he's fine, he's absolutely fine up there, ready to cause carnage next turn. Then finally in the combat phase, that captain will make strikes against the door. He will need 6s, but it is double attacks because the door does count as trapped. So looking for 6s here. 1 wound off the door, so that door is splintered but still stands and has 1 wound remaining. So this is the field at the end of turn 1. So already evil starting to make headway onto the battlements, and we'll go into priority for turn 2. And it goes to Isengard. So start of turn 2 with Isengard priority. Aldor uses his only point of might to call a heroic move to try and stop the beachhead from forming up onto the walls. He himself can't move because there's no unengaged model within 3 inches. But he can rally the defenders to try and stem that breach and hold off the Urukai. So after that heroic move, the forces of Rohan have just consolidated their position, trying to protect the banner with a second line, and have engaged the berserker. The forces of Isengard, in their move, just moved up the ladders a little bit more, shuffling around the bottom. Here, they all shimmied up so that there's another guy at the top, so that if that berserker can push them back, then he'll be able to really take advantage of that space on the wall. So going into the shoot phase for turn 2, Aldor will take his shots. So Aldor will take his shot at that infantry on the ground. 3, so we'll re-roll that to another 3. So unfortunately he has not got a kill this turn. Into the fight phase, we have this berserker against 2. And that goes to the Rohirrim, who normally would need 5s, but this time will be needing 4s because of their special roll. Unfortunately, they're unable to get him. He is trapped, so they'll get to re-roll those. Again, needing 4s, and there we go. That is a wound. He has feel no pain, the Berserker. So on a 6, he does not die, and he gets the 6. So he is fine and pushes them back. The next combat we have Haleth with 2 dice against the Berserker on 2. And again, goes to the Rohirrim. Again, this will be 4s. And he gets him. So he's feel no pain. Needing a 6 again. Ooh, not quite. So that Berserker falls, and then he's going to hit both of those on his way down. So on a 4+, he's fine, but on a 1, 2, 3, he will fall and break his neck. So he's fallen, and the guy behind him, he is okay. So that pikeman's fine, but he's fallen and broken his neck. Just pop him back up. So that is the end of the combat phase, except for over here, the captain is going to try and smash that door down again. He gets double strikes, and that, with 2 massive 6s, takes off the final wound of the door, and that door has now been broken to splinters, and the captain will be ready to charge through next turn. At the end of turn 2, Haleth has managed to defend that ladder, but the Berserker here, despite taking a lethal wound, managed to shrug that off and push everybody back to create a beachhead. And here, the captain has managed to smash through that door, ready to begin the assault on that flank. So we go into turn 3 priority, and it goes to evil. At the end of the movement phase, the forces of Isengard are climbing up these ladders. They've managed to further extend the beachhead there. Here, however, this pikeman was too far down the ladder to be able to reach the top, which bought time for this warrior here to take Haleth's place, and Haleth has charged into the right flank to try and reclaim this section of the wall, because things are not looking good, as this door has been smashed through last turn and the captain is now fighting his way through. The 2 that died last turn both rolled 5s, and so that is the Berserker and the warrior with shield up on the battlements from the deeping wall. So things are looking a little bit tight as we go into the shoot phase. The shoot phase, Aldor is going to shoot at one of these swordsmen, and he will be needing a 5 to hit. He misses. He has to re-roll, and he misses again. So that's the end of the shoot phase, and we'll go straight into the combat. Fighting through that doorway, the captain is not going to call a heroic move. He's going to save that for later, seeing as it's only turn 3. So that's 2 attacks apiece, because the warrior will shield, and the warrior wins it. Again, the captain is going to save his might for later, so he is pushed back down those stairs. We'll right him in a minute, and then we come over to this combat here, which is 2 on 1. The Uruk is going to fight normally. It goes to Rohan, so these will be re-rollable as he is trapped. So re-rolling is on him. They need 6s normally, 5s with the special rule, but that 6 there is enough to kill him. With him being trapped, the Rohirrim back away. And then it's the Berserker on Haleth and Friend. So we'll do Haleth and the Berserker first, and then roll the Friend if needed. But nope, that's Haleth winning, and then Haleth will need 4s. Doesn't get him, so then his Friend also doesn't get him. So that Berserker is not trapped. He can make way, and the Berserker backs off. So the beachhead's slightly smaller, but still there on that flank, and that is the end of turn 3. So into turn 4 priority. Turn 4, and things are looking a little bit dicey for the defenders of Rohan. We'll go into turn 4 priority, and they absolutely smash it with a 6, so we will come back after the movement phase. Partway through the movement phase, you'll notice that Berserker is gone. This throwing spearman managed to roll a 6 to hit and a 6 to wound, and then the feel no pain as a 3 means that that berserker is dead. And Haleth was then able to charge the chap on top of the wall, and this flank is nearly back under control. Over here, the Warrior of Rohan ploughed through that door to try and hold off the swarm of Uruks that are coming across the deeping wall. So we'll come back after the movement phase is fully finished. End of the movement phase. The lines have clashed. The pikeman has gone up into that warrior when it was Isengard's move. Here, with Rohan priority, Rohan have ploughed through the doorway, taking the battle to the deeping wall. And then over here, in an incredible play, this lucky warrior managed to roll a 6 to hit with his throwing spear and a 6 to wound, which was followed by a feel no pain roll of just a 3, killing the berserker, which meant Haleth was able to charge the sword and shieldman at the top of the wall, trying to really reclaim that flank. And that is movement for turn 4. Shooting, Haleth is going to take a shot at that swordsman. He misses, and he misses again with his reroll. Another uneventful shooting phase. Combat's off with this Warrior of Rohan against the captain. Warrior of Rohan is going to shield, and he wins that fight. The captain will spend a point of might to up that to a 6 and to win it, because he wants to break through and not be held back there, and it gets the kill. So that Warrior of Rohan is down. Over here we have a pikeman on a shielding Warrior of Rohan. The Warrior of Rohan wins, so he doesn't do any damage to the pikeman, but the pikeman does have to roll a 4+ not to fall off the ladder. But he's absolutely fine, very sure-footed. Then here we have a trapped Uruk who will shield to try and keep that beachhead against the 2 warriors. And they will take their banner reroll, but still lose. So they are pushed back. And then we have Haleth on 1, who will fight it, but lose, and then needing 4s to send him to his death. And he is dead. Does he wipe out the pikeman? The 4+, he's fine. No, he falls. And then the pikeman behind is fine. So this pikeman is dead. And that is how the assault is looking at the end of turn 4. So going into turn 5, priority. And it goes to good. Movement phase. Over here, Haleth stayed at the battlements to fend off the pikeman when he got to the top. These 2 charged him. He stayed fighting off the pikeman at the top, and then here a warrior ran down the steps to meet the oncoming tide of Uruks. And they've just formed a bit of a wall to try and stop the captain from breaking through. And so that is the end of movement for turn 4. Turn 5 in fact. Shooting. Aldor again is going to shoot a swordsman down here. He hits, 5+ to wound. He doesn't get it, but he does re-roll, and that is a 5. So he goes down and will automatically come back up there. Turn 5 combat phase. We'll start off over here, and again, that warrior is going to shield to try and keep the beachhead as much as he can. Unfortunately, he loses, and he is trapped. So these will all need 5s to kill him, and he is well and truly dead. These 2 back away because their opponent was trapped. He's dead, and then we'll go for Haleth on the pikeman. Haleth draws the fight. He's +1 fight value because of his rule, there's always hope, being based off the banner rather than himself. Gives him +1 fight as well as his +1 attack. So this is a draw. On a 1, 2, 3, it's evil, but on a 4, 5, 6, it does go to Haleth. He makes his strikes and kills him. And then the berserker, is he sure-footed? Yes. And that pikeman falls only far enough to take 1 hit, which doesn't kill him. So he just falls to the ground there. We've been slightly simplifying the rules for ladders, where anyone that falls from a decent height like the top of the walls is instantly killed. But that was only the height of one guy. So here, shielding against the pikeman, try and push him off the wall. The pikeman wins, although there is the banner reroll. Doesn't get it. So the pikeman, does he hit the battlements? On a 4+, he gets through. He does get through, needing that 5+ again to wound, and he gets it. So he has gone down, and just as they have stopped one egress onto the walls, another has opened up. And then here we have captain on 1. So the captain against that chap who shields, and the captain has won. That warrior of Rohan is well out of banner range and has died for it. One more defender goes down, and so at the end of turn 5, this is how the walls are looking as we go into turn 6. Priority. Shored up one breach, another has appeared on the walls, and over here things could go either way very quickly. So this is quite an important priority roll as we go into turn 6. And halfway through the game, it goes to good. In the movement phase, another warrior has taken his fallen comrade's place and has charged down those steps to hold back the tide. He's backed up by just one more, and another is coming to run over, leaving the walls quite bare. Here, a warrior has taken Haleth's place to hold that line. Haleth running over to be of where he's most useful. And then Aldor, who was here, had a enemy within 3 inches that was not engaged and was able to move away from his position to start getting involved in some fights, and he's been backed up by another warrior. So going into turn 6 shoot phase, there isn't one for once. Aldor is engaged, so into turn 6 combat. The start of the combat phase will come over here and we'll do 1-on-1. The captain is going to hold on to his might for a later push, and he has won on a 6. Even though the warrior of Rohan really performed admirably, but getting that 6, the fight value of 5 on the captain is too much. And with fight strength of 5, he only needs 4s to wound. So that is a 3. This one off the table. Oh, 1! The warrior of Rohan survives. So we'll back these away. We'll pick them up in a moment. We'll come over here to the 1-on-1. The pikeman against a warrior. The warrior wins, only a 2, but still just enough. And that 4 is enough. 5s plus 1 with the special rule has killed the pikeman. And as he falls, he hits the berserker, who is sure-footed enough to survive, and that warrior who is not. So he has fallen. We'll move him in a moment. And then we come over to Aldor and a friend against that pikeman. Aldor is out of might. So we'll just do those 2 together against the 1 man. Uruk, in fact, who has lost the fight. And so needing 4s to wound. It should be 5s, but plus 1 with their special rule for defending the battlements. Not enough. The Uruk is trapped, so they get to re-roll those, and they get him on the second time round. They do have to back away because their opponent was trapped, but they have killed that Uruk. And so that is how the battlements are looking at the end of turn 6. So the beginning of turn 7, things are looking a little bit tight for the defenders. They do still hold the battlements, but they have lost quite a lot of warriors. So we go into another important priority roll, and it goes to good. So at the end of the movement phase, the defenders have managed to rearrange again, pulling even more warriors off to stem this tide. They've successfully held that doorway for quite a while, but they are hemorrhaging men to do so. Haleth is redeployed back to the centre to hold off that ladder, and here there are now just 2 warriors, and a berserker has got to the top of the ladder. And so with no shoot phase, Aldor having moved back to defend the banner, the fight phase will start begin. Over here again, and the captain again is not going to call a heroic combat because he can't really go anywhere, not just yet, not till he's thinned out some more warriors. So again, shielding from the Rohirrim and fighting for the Uruk. Doesn't even need to re-roll the cock dice as he wins that 5-4. So needing 4s to wound, he gets him, and that is another dead defender. Coming across to the main portion of the battlements, Haleth on 1. Rolling that off the table. And there we go. So Haleth has won on a 6, and he will need 5s, and he gets him. So when he falls, does he hit those 2? First guy, no. And second, no. He is down. And then over here, final fight, he is going to shield against the Berserker, who is going to fight normally. The Berserker spending all of his energy on staying on top of the ladder, has lost the fight, and so needing 5s, which will come 4s to kill him, and he goes down. He does have feel no pain, which he saves, so he is fine. But does he fall? No, absolutely fine. Shrugs off the wounds and keeps his footing. And so that is the end of turn 7. And we'll go into turn 8. Priorities of Rohan are taxed to breaking point at this point, going into turn 8 priority. Uruks from the Deeping Wall are starting to break through now. And here from the hordes at the base of the walls, climbing up these ladders, the Uruks descend on the defenders. Turn 8 priority. And as a draw, it goes to Evil, who did not have it last time. Movement phase, the captain has come up, and these 2 warriors have advanced to try and hold back the captain's onslaught. Here, in very empty walls, Haleth is still holding that ladder, and here the warrior is still fighting that Berserker. Aldor has come to the battlements to get a shot off at that warrior climbing the ladder with the hopes to try and clear the pressure off this flank for a turn. And so we'll go into the shoot phase for turn 8 shooting. Aldor taking a shot at that warrior there. He hits, and needing a 5 to kill. He doesn't, but he has to re-roll. And a 3, not enough. Turn 8 combat phase. Things are looking very thin on the walls, and the captain has elected to make his move now. So a heroic combat against 1. The captain is going to need this to come off because this is his last point of might. Oh, and he loses. He loses the combat to that shielding warrior. And so his heroic combat doesn't go off. He needed that to push through the hordes of Uruks, unable to back away. So this warrior instead backs up himself, but having shielded, he doesn't make strikes. Next we have Haleth with 2 attacks on 1. And Haleth has 1. Needing 4s. Oh, double 6s absolutely annihilates that pikeman, who falls into him. 4+, he's fine. And again, into him, who is also fine. So he falls and dies, but those 2 on the ladder are fine. And then final fight is 1 against that Berserker. So shielding at the top does the work. That Berserker, who's already nearly fallen from the onslaught, needs a 4+ to find his feet, and he does. So we'll stand him up, and that is the end of turn 8. So the battlements are looking incredibly sparse now, and things are getting very, very tight as we go into turn 9 priority. And it goes to Evil again. The walls over here still looks quite the same, but over here, Evil have pushed through as the captain and now a Berserker have managed to get in through the doorway and into combat. Things are looking very, very dire up on the walls for the defenders of Rohan in turn 9. So we'll go into the shoot phase with Aldor taking another shot at the warrior there on the ladder. So he will be hitting on 5s. He misses. He does have his reroll, and he hits. So needing 5s to wound. No. He must reroll. No. So into combats for turn 9. Phase for turn 9, and we'll begin over here with the Berserker on 1. The Rohirrim is going to shield, to try and push him off the ladder, but unfortunately he cannot beat him. So needing to get past the battlements on a 4+. One strike gets through and needing 5s. One. The Warrior of Rohan stays firm in the face of the Berserker's onslaught, and the Berserker is still at the top of the ladder. Here we have Haleth on 1. Haleth's 2 attacks. Loses. Does have the banner reroll. Still loses. So does the Warrior hit the battlements? No, it hits Haleth. And a wound on Haleth. So first fate, he fails. Second fate, he makes it. So no fate, 2 wounds remaining on Haleth. And then over here, things are not looking good for Rohan. He will shield against a Berserker and a Captain, so 4 dice. There's no might left on that Captain, so we'll do all 4 the same. Oh dear. Warrior of Rohan paralysed with fear, too high. And these will be wounding. So in fact the Captain's first will be wounding on 4s. Smashes him to pieces, and the Berserker brutalises his corpse. And that is 1 more dead. These would have had to back slightly to make way for their brother, who is now fallen into the stonework of the battlements. And so we go into turn 10 of 12, and things are very bleak for the Warriors of Rohan. The battlements, corpses of men are strewn amidst the blood of Uruk-hai, and we go into turn 10 priority, and it goes to evil again. The movement phase, and the hordes of Isengard are climbing the ladders, really testing the defenders. And over here, from the deeping wall, the Captain, along with the Berserker and some more warriors, are really starting to carve through those final few defenders holding that gateway. Let's go into the shoot phase. Aldor here is looking to hit him, and if he can kill him, he'll fall and hopefully clear off that ladder to buy just a little bit of time. So he's hitting on 5s. He does hit, and again, another 5 to wound. A 4, not quite. He has to re-roll, and it's a 3. So he survives that arrow landing squarely in his shield. And so we go into the fight phase. Here again with turn 10's fight phase, and that is the Warrior shielding against the 2 attacks from the Berserker. The Berserker wins the combat. So does he strike the barrier? No, with both on a 4+, and so needing 5s to kill. Oh, and he doesn't get him. He is still alive. So we come across to Haleth, wounded from that Uruk last time. The Uruk senses blood and sniffs it right. Haleth does get the banner re-roll, but it's not enough. Looking for 5s to wound Haleth. No, not quite. We come to this fight up here, which is a Berserker on 1 who will shield. And the Berserker wins it 3 high. Winning on the draw there with his fight value. And then killing the Warrior on 5s. Next we have the Captain on 1, who will also be shielding, the Warrior shielding against the Captain. And the Captain wins, only needing 4s. Butchers him as well, and the last defenders there holding that gateway have fallen. That is not good for Rohan. To turn 11, and things are getting very, very close now. Breaking through up here and making a straight, uncontested line towards the banner, and their objective are the Uruks. Still holding the wall. There are a few valiant defenders left holding that wall. So let's go into turn 11 priority and see what happens. 11 priority goes to Evil Nightmare. 11 movement, so Haleth used his point of might to call a heroic move to avoid getting trapped and annihilated there. And he's run back to form a wall. The banner right back in the corner, praying that this fight goes in Rohan's favour, as this comes down to one final onslaught. So very quickly we do have the shot there from Aldor, so we'll go into the shoot phase for turn 11. So Aldor in the shoot phase for turn 11 will shoot that Berserker, and he is needing 5s to hit. Oh, not quite. He does have his reroll. No, he doesn't get it. And so we'll go into the combat phase. Turn 11 fight phase. And here Haleth has run back, allowing the hordes to climb up that ladder as he ran to form a final wall. And so the only combat of the game is this berserker against this warrior. Rohan against the berserker, and the warrior will be shielding for his life. Oh, it is a draw, which will at this point go to the berserker on fight value unless this banner reroll is a 6, but it's not. So here, looking to get past the battlements. 1 does get past and kills him. Nightmare. That warrior is down and the berserker is through. Ready for turn 12. This is on a knife edge now. 1,000 strong, the Uruk-hai have overwhelmed the defenders, climbing the ladders and attacking and killing many men of Rohan. The forces have come from the deeping wall, smashing through the small gateway to overwhelm the defenders. And so now we're going to the final turn with a very, very important priority roll. Turn 12 priority. And it goes to evil. The very final combat of the final turn. And we'll begin here with Haleth on the captain and 2. Haleth valiantly fights. He does have his banner reroll, but he can't survive against this onslaught. The captain needing 4s, puts in 2 wounds, and their warriors needing 5, so 2 wounds. Sadly, that is Haleth down. He's already used his fate. Very bleak now for Rohan. This warrior here is going to shield against the berserker and a pikeman. He wins! Well done, warrior of Rohan, pushing back the pikeman and the berserker. And then here, Aldor on 1. Aldor does have the banner reroll, and it wins him the fight, so he will be wounding on 6s, down to 5s, but that 4 not enough. So he backs away, and then the most important fight, deciding the entire game, is the banner against the berserker. For the game, Isengard, berserker on 2 dice against Rohan. That banner with a -1 on the dice. Oh, and it goes to Isengard. Oh, in fact, the banner can reroll himself, trying to beat a 3. No, he doesn't. 5+. 4+, in fact, because there is no shield on that bannerman. 4+ on 2 dice, and Isengard win in the last throw of the game. And Isengard have won. The defenders are defeated. The banner falls to the blades of the Uruk-hai. And with just Aldor and 1 left to witness its fall, there are tears on the battlements. So thank you very much for watching. That has been an incredibly close battle, and I hope you enjoyed that. This has been an SBG battle report by Tabletop Ramblings. Please do like, comment and subscribe. If you liked this scenario kind of format, or if you prefer a straight up points battle, do let me know. If you've got any comments at all, please do post them. And until then, I'll see you next time. Thank you. Goodbye.